Sponsored by the New York Stock Exchange.
The year in finance is wrapping up, and the New York Stock Exchange's senior market strategist is here to break down the top market moments and trends that shape 2024. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Hi, Kaime. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, this is always a hot topic. So looking back on 2024, what were some of the most significant moments for the financial markets, and why were they important?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that stands out to me the most is just how strong U.S. markets have been in the last year. We've had double-digit gains for consecutive years, right? And when you look at that S&P 500, the benchmark that your audience is investing in their 401ks, right? That index is up over 20% for consecutive years for the first time going back to the mid-1990s, right? And there are some interesting parallels between the current environment and that time period, right? And that common thread is really the technological revolution that we're seeing. So, the first thing that I think drove a lot of the market gains last year is that AI revolution, right? As we saw so much kind of capital investment into technology infrastructure, the build out of data centers, right? And that's creating jobs here in the United States, right? It's adding, kind of helping the U.S. economy remain, very resilient. And that comes after a 2-year time period where we've seen the Federal Reserve raising rates at the most aggressive pace going back to the 1980s. And so in the back half of the year, we did see the Fed, begin to pivot. They started cutting rates in September. We have 75 basis points of rate cuts under our belt at this point, with another 25 expected before the end of the year. All right, and that's happening in this strong environment, and it's going to help Main Street as you start to see mortgage rates moving lower, rates on auto loans and credit cards, kind of all moving lower, and that will help to potentially kind of preserve the current economic backdrop that we have. All right, and then lastly, we've had the election, and as we've removed that overhang, you are starting to see kind of business optimism start to build up as there's some expectation of potentially lower taxes, or kind of more business-friendly policies coming out of the administration, potentially setting us up for another good year in 2025.
Well, the market is constantly, like you said, evolving and changing and so intricate. So talk to me a little bit real fast about industries or sectors that stood out this year and which ones we should be watching for 2025.
Yeah, so I mean, when you look back to last year, right, that AI trade, was really the big talking point, right? And the companies that have benefited the most from that were kind of the picks and shovels in the industry. So think of semiconductors, companies building server racks, or involved in kind of data center construction. But we started to see that trade evolve. We're starting to see, utilities have been a good performer as there's this expectation for more power demand across the country as we move forward, right? And I think that evolution will continue heading into 2025. So software is an area to watch as they're using the technology to, to help with their innovation. And investors are paying very close attention as to how management teams are messaging their AI strategy, using that to increase productivity, innovate, and their profitability. Right. And then lastly, I think financials is a very important sector to pay attention to, with the expectations of a more friendly regulatory environment and a pro-growth backdrop. Right, there is some expectation that we could see capital markets activity begin to pick up, in the form of M&A, but more kind of importantly for your audience, right? Hopefully, we'll start to see the IPO window open back up, right? That'll give the investing public, the opportunity to invest into some of this new innovative technology. And from our seat here at the New York Stock Exchange, right, it's really exciting to be able to work with those, innovators and entrepreneurs and business leaders to help go and raise that capital to go out and change the world.
Wow, Michael, so much information. I hope everyone at home took notes because there's a lot to look forward to in 2025. Thanks so much for being here on the show, Michael.
All right, thanks for having me, and have a happy new year.
You as well.